Hello, this is Roxy with XOMO Society and also from San Olivas, and today we are going to give you 5 tips on how to find your focus. So this is the first ever XOMO Society video, and we wanted to talk about how to find your focus because we're millennials, and I know so many people my age, even younger, who haven't found what exactly they want to do with their life. And I think a lot of it stems from not having a focus. I'm not even 30 yet, and I've had what I consider to be my dream job for the last 3 years. So let's just get straight into it. The very first tip is to know your strengths. And I know it sounds really obvious, but when it comes to being successful, self-awareness is really key. You really need to know who you are. And knowing your strengths is definitely a big thing in finding your focus. So you need to know what you're good at. For example, I was always kind of academically inclined, like I was good at math and science. I love like computer techie stuff, and so that's what pushed me into computer engineering. My sister Mo, for example, is more creative, and she's really good at, you know, seeing things and doing things creatively, whereas I'm not. And so we kind of went, you know, in different directions. So the second tip is to know your weaknesses. So you need to know what you're not really good at. For me, I was never good at sales jobs. I don't know what it is, like convincing people to buy things, like that was just never my forte. And so knowing that, I always kind of avoided anything that was sales related. So you need to keep in mind what you're not so good at. So number 3 is to figure out what you're passionate about. So what makes you tick? What gets you excited? What makes you feel like you accomplished something? And it sounds really geeky, but I've always been excited about building applications, not so much building things with your hand, but like software development, which is why I went into software development. And I don't know what it is, but it's like I love seeing something go from start to finish, having this idea and making something that's useful. And so you need to pay attention to when you're doing different things, like what are you most excited about? Like what do you think is really cool? Or what is the thing that you're most excited to do? Once you found your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and you figured out what you're passionate about, the next thing to do is tip number 4, and that is to talk to people in the industry and ask some questions. I don't think that I said yet, but I'm an IT project manager, and I did not know that this is what I wanted to do with my life. I did not know that I didn't even know I could do that. Walking to college, I thought I was going to, you know, study engineering, I was going to be a software developer, and then as time went on, I kind of figured out being a developer is not my strength. So I kind of figured out, you know, what my dream job was as I got into the workforce. And I've just been really lucky to have worked for so many great managers. I think every single one of them asked me questions about what my career goals are, what do I want to do, and you know, you don't know when you're young, you don't know everything. You don't even know what options are out there for you. And so it was through talking to my managers or like colleagues and people who are also in the industry that I found out that project management was a thing in IT. And I didn't even understand what do they really do all day. But you know, don't be afraid to ask people those questions. And I find that most people are really receptive. Like when you ask them what they do and how they got there. I know I like when people ask me, how did you get to be a project manager? What was your career path and whatnot? What'd you do? And so, you know, ask questions, especially when you're young. Ask a lot of questions. There are just so many options out there that, you know, the more you know, the better. The last and final tip, tip number 5, is to put in work. You have to put in work if you want to be successful, if you want to get to where you want to be. And it's not always going to be your favorite thing to do, but no matter where you're at right now, whether you're in school, in an internship, doing a side thing, a temporary thing, a full-time job, you need to put in work and you need to do it well. So I don't think that I would have gotten the opportunity to be a project manager had I not put in work. before I was a project manager, I was a software tester, and even though it wasn't what I wanted to do forever, it was a job that I had. And so I did what I had to do. I worked really hard at doing that. I learned as much as I could. I even got certifications on the side because I knew eventually I wanted to be a project manager. So I just came to work every day. I did what I had to do, and eventually an opportunity came up where they needed another project manager. And so who did they approach first? They approached me. Just kidding. No, not kidding. But people see when you work really hard. Like my old boss saw that I worked really hard and I put in the work, and he knew that being a software tester wasn't my ultimate goal. And so he kind of helped me, and when the opportunity came and they needed somebody, he suggested me. And so that's just the kind of thing you need to do. You need to just work. Just do what you need to do. There really isn't any way around it. So that was our 5 tips to finding your focus. If you like this video, click thumbs up below, subscribe to our channel. You can follow us on Instagram too at XOMO Society, and we will see you guys next time.